You do not need to be positive to be resilient. Hey, it's Jael from Cell Based Nutrition, and today we're going to talk about why honesty matters more than optimism when you are living with chronic pain. Many people are told that being positive is resilience, especially when they are living with chronic pain. But this type of positivity turns into a pressure to stay upbeat, a pressure to reframe everything using positive language, pressure to be grateful instead of being honest. Suppressing frustration, fear, real anxiety, or grief does not make any of those emotions disappear. In fact, it keeps the nervous system tense. It keeps the nervous system alert. And we know that a heightened nervous system increases the amount of pain that we are in. The body stays braced. Breathing gets shallow, muscles get tighter. Hormones like adrenaline and cortisol and testosterone are being released. Our body will then struggle because our liver will dump a whole load of glycogen into our bloodstream, and there's no burst of energy that's going to happen to use up that glucose. So now we have high blood sugar, and that causes inflammation, and that keeps up with the pain cycle. There is a difference between positivity and emotional regulation. Positivity is like a mindset overlay. It's like a filter. And when the filter isn't genuine, it starts glitching. Regulation is a physiological state. It allows emotions to move through the body. Positivity often asks us to manage, bypass, or even silence our emotions, whilst regulation allows us to process emotions and deal with them head on. Unexpressed emotions equals an ongoing stress load on an already stressed body. And stress amplifies pain sensitivity. And this is not a psychological weakness to say that you don't feel positive all of the time. This is just biology. There's a real fear that people have of being negative, right? Many people fear being labeled difficult, pessimistic, or draining. And then that fear keeps them performing wellness, performing positivity instead of actually experiencing it. I would love if we could experience genuine positivity as people who are living with chronic illness, chronic pain, chronic fatigue, complex medical needs, disabilities. But it has to come from a real internal place rather than a facade that we are putting on for the benefit of people who are not living in our bodies. Remember, I told you that in my younger years, I would buy anything that people sold me in an attempt to cure myself. The same, I'm ashamed to admit, went for my belief and my support system. I was told, and I believed for a long time, that I was being punished by God, that I must be secretly evil, or I must have been evil in a past life. My parents must have been evil. They must have been evil in a past life. Something bad must have happened in my generational line because I was cursed. Meanwhile, the main condition that people were talking about is genetic. condition. It's an abnormality with my hemoglobin. And from all of the research that I've done in a logical frame of mind, all of that garbage that I was taught has absolutely no bearing on the practical reality of living with any physical condition or disability. So I was told that I have to pray in a particular way, that I have to think in a particular way, that I have to put on this mask of positivity. I couldn't even acknowledge that I had any of the conditions that I had. I was told that I'm not supposed to say I have sickle cell, because that means that I'm somehow owning it and I'm somehow putting that condition on myself, which is garbage, which is absolute nonsense. But I was told that I had to reject my diagnoses and refuse to label myself as ill, refuse to label myself as disabled, because I was making it a reality, as if the pain and the fatigue that I experienced on a daily basis was a figment of my imagination. So I put on for a long time this fake positivity. I would be in pain, having a sickle cell crisis, be unable to move, and attempt to gaslight myself into saying that this pain wasn't as a result of the conditions that I had. Like, I honestly, now when I think back on it, I don't know what frame of mind I was in to have believed any of that. I was so vulnerable when I was younger. I was so vulnerable and desperate to be cured, desperate to be fixed, desperate to be normal, desperate to fit in, and desperate to find a reason or a solution to what I was experiencing. And sometimes there are no solutions, sometimes there are no fixes. And the reason for my condition is because I have deformed hemoglobin. That's the reason. Not because I had done anything, not because my parents had done anything. They carried the gene for deformed hemoglobin, which was passed on from their parents. I mean, sometimes genetic conditions happen, and this searching for some sort of metaphysical thing to blame, as if that makes your current reality okay, is just, it's just a mental minefield. Some people didn't have such torturous experiences like that, but a lot of people are made to feel that they should, you know, if you put your positive face on, if you smile through what you're going through, if you only speak positivity, then everything is going to be okay. But again, what are we doing? We're suppressing our very real and genuine emotions about how we are coping. And emotions fluctuate, you know, they vary. We feel them in different intensities. We feel them at different times of the day, the week, the year. You know, there are some times that are harder than others. And your emotions should be allowed to flow through your body, and you should be able to speak about them, and you should be able to process them. That way we can make sense of them. It is perfectly normal to feel grief at the loss of mobility, for example. It is perfectly normal to feel grief at the loss of a future that you fear that you may no longer have. It is normal to feel sad when you have been in bed for 4 days, unable to move, and you've missed things that you want to do. Admitting that does not mean that you're negative. It means that you're being real. What I have learned what I have learned as I have learned more about my condition, and what I have learned since I have gone on a real effort to work on my mental and emotional health, is to tell the truth and to tell the whole truth. And the truth is, yes, I am in pain every day. Yes, I have complex health needs. Yes, I am fatigued virtually all of the time. These are truths. What else is a truth? That I have learned what my capacity is. I have learned how many spoons I have in a day. I have learned what my social battery looks like. I have learned how to uphold firmer boundaries. I have learned that I am less harsh on myself now. What else is true? That I give myself grace. That I ask for help almost without shame. That I put structures in place to support me. Those are also truths. Resilience is not just a blind optimism. Resilience is flexibility. It's knowing that you have different capacities on different days. Resilience is the ability to feel what is real and return to an internal sense of safety. You're allowed to be honest without that being deemed as negative. You are allowed to name pain without that being seen as hopelessness or you giving up. The nervous system needs much more truth than it needs slogans. I've seen, positive vibes only on several places on social media. Some people don't have the capacity for compassion or empathy. Some people don't have the capacity to address their own ableism. Some people don't have the capacity to understand a reality that is different from theirs. So when they see somebody living with complex health needs, chronic pain, chronic illness, and they see that person being honest about how they are feeling in that moment, and remember, feelings are transient, and they don't have the capacity for empathy to understand what somebody else is saying, their rejection of your truth, their rejection of your lived experience, their rejection of your reality is a them problem. It's not a you problem. I hope that many of you can find really great support systems that make space for the different feelings and emotions that you have. And on days when you are genuinely feeling positive and optimistic about the things that are happening in your life, you have people to celebrate that with you. And it's also my hope for you that on days when you are feeling afraid, anxious, depressed, saddened, that you also have people to acknowledge that those feelings are valid, and that you have the space to be able to talk through and process those emotions as well. There are some days when I do feel very positive. There are some days when I'm excited about the business that I'm building. I'm excited about the impact that these videos are having on people's lives. I love reading your comments. I reply to all of them. And there are some days and some moments of some days when I feel great. And then there are some moments of some days where I don't. And that's normal and that's human. If you are tired of performing positivity, you are welcome here. I would love to hear your thoughts about this topic in the comments below. If there is anything that I may have missed out or some nuance that I hadn't thought of, I would be happy to make a follow-on video if that's something that you wanted. You know, we understand these ideas intellectually, but we often struggle to apply them in our lives, especially when we are dealing with pain and fatigue, numerous hospital appointments, your nervous system's already stressed out. And that's not a personal failing. That is, that shows that there is space needed for structure and space needed for scaffolding and support. It doesn't mean that you need to put in more effort. It means that you need more help. And for those of you who want deeper and more guided support, I am opening the doors to my pain and fatigue liberation method, which is a group chronic pain program that uses naturopathy, alternative medicine, complementary therapy modalities to help support our nervous systems, to help reduce the frequency and intensity of the pain that we feel, and helps to combat fatigue. The cohort is going to open in the spring. I am working on the final touches, so when the doors are open, I will post links everywhere, and will invite those who want to work with me to sign up for the program. And of course, nothing is ever by force. If it's not for you, that's absolutely fine. I will still be here putting out daily videos, strength, health and pain permitting, and we still will have the opportunity to support each other down in the comment section. For now, just know that the support exists and it's coming. So I'm Jael from Cell-Based Nutrition. It has been lovely talking to you. Please like, comment and subscribe so our little community can get bigger and so this message can go out to people who need to hear it. And I would like you to remember that your body is not broken. Your cells are just undernourished. And I will see you in the next video.